Today for Women's History Month, I wanted to focus on another leader. This leader was intelligent, she was strong, and she was probably one of the best negotiators and businesswomen of all time. She began her career as a worker in a brothel, but became the most powerful pirate in history and retired richer than most emperors. Today's story is on Zheng Yi Sao, the pirate queen who ruled China's South Sea with 80,000 pirates at her command. She was born in Guangdong sometime between 1775 and 1785. She began her life very humbly and started her career as a worker in a brothel, probably a floating brothel. While in that line of work, she met Zheng Yi, a notorious pirate leader. The two were married in 1801, and in 1802, they started to essentially take over and consolidate all of the pirates in the area. By working together, they consolidated the pirates in the area into a confederation, all of whom agreed to an agreement in July of 1805 to basically sacrifice some of their autonomy for the greater good of all of the pirates. The confederation consisted of 6 fleets, and they were known by the color of their flags: red, black, blue, white, yellow, and purple. In 1807, Zheng Yi fell overboard during a really bad storm and was killed. It was assumed that control of the largest of the fleets, the Red Fleet that he commanded, would go to his adopted son. However, she said, I think not. I helped build this crew. I helped build this fleet. It is mine to command. She took control of the entire fleet instead of surrendering power to male commanders. However, the adopted son of her deceased husband did become the first mate and did end up commanding the Red Fleet when she decided that she was going to focus on the business side of piracy. So essentially, he could have the Red Fleet. She had the Confederacy. Also, kind of weird side note, they do end up getting married, and that's a little weird, but I mean, they weren't related, so I guess there's that. One of the first things she did when she took control was create a code of conduct that would make sure that there would be discipline amongst the pirates, basically to make sure that everyone would be effective and they would be able to get as wealthy as possible. Basically, there were a few ground rules. Number 1, she was the only person who could authorize an attack. If you were to attack an area without her permission or consent, the person in charge would be beheaded. Loot was to be gathered by superiors and then distributed equally. Punishment for the first offense, if you broke this rule, would be a beating. If you did it more than one time, again, off with your head. If you were guilty of deserting your post, your ear would be cut off. If you were caught doing it a second time, again, lose the head. You would treat women with respect, period, because even one incident of assaulting a woman would result in your head being removed from the rest of your body. And then also, if one of the pirates wanted to engage in a relationship with a female, they needed to be married to her. If that was okay with the commander. If she said no, and you did it anyway, I'm sure we can guess what the punishment is. And if she said yes, you had to wait until you were married before any sort of physical relationship could ensue. And she did not play with these rules. She made sure that they were enforced pretty much to the fullest extent, and she ran a very tight ship. On top of normal piracy of raiding different ships and also, requiring payment for safe passage through certain areas, the Confederation would also raid coastal villages, kidnap foreign officials, and hold them for ransom. The Chinese Navy couldn't stop her. The Portuguese Navy couldn't stop her. And basically, she pretty much did whatever she wanted. Between 1807 and 1810, the pirates became obscenely wealthy, and they couldn't be stopped. The Chinese government tried, but there was really not a whole lot they could do about it. The pirates realized that they were in such a position of power that they could basically negotiate whatever terms of surrender that they wanted, And they would not really have any punishment to face in the end because, again, they could just go back to causing a whole bunch of damage. So in the terms of surrender, there were zero reparations to be paid. There was no sort of punishment for almost every single pirate that was willing to retire. And they could just kind of essentially live their lives according to however they wanted for the rest of their existences. She decided that she was going to retire once again in Guangdong, and she opened a small business, and she retired very peacefully. She died at age 68 or 69 as a grandmother, quietly just living in comfort, unlike most of the pirates of the era that died by battle or hanging. Her story is one of power, of defiance, and of brilliance. In a time when women really did not get the opportunities to take the lead, she commanded the most powerful navy in the entire world, defeated every army and navy she went up against, and she was the master of her own fate. She is a very strong reminder that women can be leaders and can dominate in male-dominated worlds. And she serves as a reminder that intelligence should definitely never be downplayed. A woman should always be very proud of how smart she is and be willing to use the tools that she has been given.